Hello and welcome to In Depth. I'm Teena Jha. 18 July 2018 was the 100th birth anniversary of Nelson Mandela, the man who ended apartheid in South Africa. To end discrimination on the basis of the color of the skin, Mandela spent nearly 3 decades in a jail. After a relentless battle against racism, he became South Africa's first black president in 1994. Mandela was a global advocate for human rights. It made him the world's most beloved statesman and a colossus of the 20th century. Today in Depth, let's take a look at the life and times of Nelson Mandela, his long battle against apartheid, his walk to freedom after 27 years in jail, and what brought him closer to Mahatma Gandhi. One of the 20th century's most important civil rights changemakers, Nelson Mandela devoted his life, including 27 years in prison, to bring an end to the segregationist policies of South Africa's apartheid system. Where we come from doesn't matter. What matters is where we reach by means of our virtue. This popular quote is true about legendary Nelson Mandela. Mandela was the voice of protest against oppression. A Gandhian at heart, he was a born leader for the deprived who symbolized the spirit of rebellion against racism. If anyone in modern history ever followed Gandhian principles until his last breath, it was none other than Nelson Mandela, who was often called the Gandhi of South Africa because of his human values that were inspired by Mahatma Gandhi. 18th of July 2018 marked the 100th birth anniversary of Nelson Mandela. One of the 20th century's most important civil rights changemakers, Mandela devoted his entire life, including 27 years in prison, to bringing an end to the cruelly segregationist policies of South Africa's apartheid system. His 100th birth anniversary was remembered across the world. Mandela has a special significance for India and has been honoured with the Bharat Ratna. He was the first non-Indian to be conferred with India's highest civilian honour. Which is also why, on the first day of the monsoon session of the Parliament, the Rajya Sabha chairman remembered Nelson Mandela. Making a reference, Chairman Venkaiah Naidu said, Mandela was inspired by Mahatma Gandhi in his long walk and struggle against apartheid. Venkaiah Naidu said, Mandela will continue to be a source of inspiration for civil rights activists worldwide.
July 18th, 2018 marks the 100th birth anniversary of Sri Nelson Mandela. Sri Nelson Mandela, a non-violence, anti-apartheid revolutionary, was inspired by Mahatma Gandhi in his long walk and struggle against the apartheid. He directed a campaign of peaceful, non-violent defiance against the South African government and its racist policies. He became the South Africa's first black president from 1994 to 1999. He was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993 for his efforts to dismantle the country's apartheid system. Sri Nelson Mandela will continue to be a source of inspiration for civil rights activists worldwide.
18th of July is marked annually around the world as Mandela Day, and the Nelson Mandela Foundation called for people to take action and inspire change in his name in the centenary year. Former United States President Barack Obama attended the Centenary Town Hall Forum in Johannesburg. Speaking at the annual lecture, the former president gave an emotional address recalling the wave of hope that washed through the hearts all around the world when Mandela was released from jail in 1990. Obama hailed him as the last great liberator of the 20th century. In his address, he also remembered Mahatma Gandhi, King Martin Luther and Abraham Lincoln. Obama made a plea to all to preserve democratic freedoms as key to peace. A special exhibition was organized in London to mark the 100th birth anniversary of Mandela. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle visited the exhibition and met the family of Nelson Mandela, including his granddaughter. The exhibition has been shown in various forms around the world, including 6 weeks at the Paris Town Hall in 2013. Nelson Mandela shared a strong apolitical bond with India and Mahatma Gandhi. The South African activist and former President Nelson Mandela helped end apartheid and was a global advocate for human rights. A member of the African National Congress Party beginning in the 1940s, he was a leader of both peaceful protests and armed resistance against the white minority's oppressive regime in a racially divided South Africa. His actions landed him in prison for nearly 3 decades and made him the face of the anti-apartheid movement both within his country and internationally. Released in 1990, he participated in the eradication of apartheid and in 1994 became the first black president of South Africa. The Gandhian philosophy was one of the driving forces behind Nelson Mandela's lifelong anti-apartheid movement. He remained a devoted champion for peace and social justice in his own country as well as around the world until his death in 2013 at the age of 95. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Nelson Mandela became the first black president of South Africa in 1994, serving his country till 1999. A symbol of global peacemaking, he won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993. For generations to come, Nelson Mandela would continue to be a source of inspiration for civil rights activists worldwide. In this report, let's know more about his life.
Nelson Mandela was born on 18th July 1918 in Mvezo village in the southeastern region of South Africa called Transkei. Mandela was the son of Chief Henry Mandela of the Madiba clan and a member of the royal family of Thembu tribe which spoke Xhosa language. Nelson's mother was Gadla's third wife, Noskini Fanny. But after his father lost both his title and fortune over a dispute with a local colonial magistrate, the family was forced to move to Kunu, an even smaller village north of Mvezo.
When I went to school, the lady teacher, Miss Mdingane, asked, "What is your name?" I told her my African name, Khorislas. She says, "No, I don't want that one. You must have a Christian name." So I say, "No, I don't have one." She says, from today you are going to be Nelson."
Mandela was just 9 years old when his father died. As a boy, he grew up in the company of tribal elders and chiefs, which gave him a rich sense of African self-government and heritage despite the cruel treatment of blacks in white-governed South Africa. He attended primary school in Kunu, where his teacher gave him the name Nelson. He completed his junior certificate at Clarksbury Boarding Institute and went on to Hilltown, a Wesleyan secondary school of some repute, where he matriculated. In 1939, Mandela began his studies for a Bachelor of Arts degree at the University College of Fort Hare, but did not complete the degree there as he was expelled for joining in a student protest. Fort Hare was the only residential center of higher learning for blacks in South Africa at the time. Mandela's family wanted to make sure that Mandela's life was properly planned and wanted him to get married. But feeling trapped, Mandela ran away from home. He settled in Johannesburg in 1941, where he worked a variety of jobs, including as a guard and a clerk, while completing his bachelor's degree via correspondence courses. He then enrolled at the University of Witwatersrand in Johannesburg to study law. Mandela, while increasingly politically involved from 1942, only joined the African National Congress in 1944, when he helped to form the ANC Youth League. In 1944, he married Evelyn Mass, a nurse. He had 2 sons and 2 daughters. Around this time, his popularity grew, and while fighting against apartheid, he went to jail several times. In 1963, Mandela and 10 other ANC leaders were sentenced to life imprisonment for political offences, including sabotage. On January 11, 1990, he was released from prison due to increasing local and international pressure for his release.
That Mr. Nelson Mandela will be released at the Victor Verster prison on Sunday, the 11th of February at about 3 p.m.
After being released from prison in 1991, Mandela was elected President of the African National Congress. In 1993, Mandela and President de Klerk were jointly awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for their work towards dismantling apartheid in South Africa. On April 27, 1994, South Africa held its first democratic elections. Nelson Mandela was inaugurated as the country's first black president on 10th May 1994 at the age of 77, with de Klerk as his first deputy. From 1994 until June 1999, President Mandela worked to bring about the transition from minority rule and apartheid to black majority rule. By 1999 general elections, Nelson Mandela had retired from active politics. In June 2004, at the age of 85, he announced his formal retirement from public life and returned to his native village of Kunu. On December 5, 2013, he died in Johannesburg. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Nelson Mandela helped bring an end to apartheid in South Africa after years of relentless struggle. A member of the African National Congress Party beginning in the 1940s, he was a leader of both peaceful protests and armed resistance against the white minorities' oppressive regime in a racially divided South Africa. His actions kept him in prison for nearly 3 decades and made him the face of the anti-apartheid movement both within his country and internationally. Nelson Mandela grew up at a time when racism and apartheid were at their peak in South Africa. The South African population was divided into 4 distinct racial groups: white, black, coloured and Indian. Strict residential, economic and social segregation was enforced on the basis of these racial categories. There were separate schools, buses, shops and hospitals for non-whites, with services much below the standard provided for the minority whites. Even the laws governing them were different. Non-whites were also not allowed to vote in national election. A young Mandela was disturbed by the fact that South Africans were forced to live like slaves in their own country, that they had to follow the laws and rules made by the whites and were differentiated by the colour of their skin. At a young age, he vowed to free his country of apartheid. In college, Mandela spearheaded campaigns against apartheid. He studied law at the University of Witwatersrand, where he participated actively in the movement against racial discrimination and forged key relationships with black and white activists. In 1944, Mandela joined the African National Congress. He worked with fellow party members, including Oliver Tambo, to establish its Youth League. The ANC Youth League demanded an immediate end to racial classification and segregation and the establishment of a fair and democratic government in South Africa. In addition, it also called for full citizenship to all South Africans, reorganization of land, rights of trade unions, and free and compulsory education for children. In the 1950s, Nelson Mandela travelled across South Africa, organizing campaigns of mass civil disobedience against discriminatory policies. He also opened South Africa's first black law firm, which offered free or low-cost legal counsel to those affected by apartheid legislation. Mandela's thoughts and approach towards apartheid drew people towards him, and gradually he became a mass leader.
It was when I came into the African National Congress that I realized that colossus are only a part of the African people. That the task of the ANC was to unite the African people and out of them build a nation.
In 1955, Mandela played a key role in writing the ANC's Freedom Charter, which stated that South Africa belonged to all who live in it, black and white, and that no government can justly claim authority unless it is based on the will of all the people. Within months, Mandela, along with 156 others, were arrested and charged with treason. The trial lasted 4.5 years, following which all the accused were acquitted in 1961.
We made it very clear in our policy that South Africa is a country of many races. There is room for all the various races in this country.
But in 1958, the National Party introduced the passed laws that restricted the movement of people who were classified as black or coloured. In 1960, 69 people were shot dead in a protest against the passed laws, an event that came to be known as Sharpeville Massacre. Days later, the government declared a state of emergency and banned the African National Congress. Mandela was forced to go underground and wear disguises to evade detection. It was then that he decided that the time had come for a more radical approach than passive resistance. In 1961, he founded Umkhonto Wesizwe, meaning Spear of the Nation. It was an armed wing of the ANC and was also referred to as MK. MK launched a campaign against the government, which had recently declared South Africa a republic and withdrawn from the British Commonwealth. In January 1962, Mandela travelled abroad illegally to attend a conference of African nationalist leaders in Ethiopia. He returned to the country on the 5th of August and was arrested soon after. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison for leaving the country illegally and also inciting a 1961 workers' strike. In July, the police raided an ANC hideout in Rivonia. Several members of the MK wing were arrested and evidence found to implicate Mandela to stand trial for sabotage, treason and violent conspiracy. After an 8-month-long trial, Mandela was sentenced to life imprisonment. It came to be known as the Rivonia trial and attracted a lot of international attention. Before walking into the jail, Mandela said, "I cherish the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all people live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve. But if need be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." Mandela was sent to the brutal Robben Island prison, where he was confined to a small cell without a bed. He was forced to work in a limestone quarry, where the glitter of sunlight on rock permanently damaged his eyes. As a black political prisoner, Mandela was subject to a harsh routine and received very few privileges as compared to other inmates. He was only allowed to see his wife Winnie Mandela once every 6 months. But restrictions in confinement notwithstanding, Mandela earned a Bachelor of Law degree from the University of London and served as a mentor to his fellow prisoners, encouraging them to seek better treatment through non-violent resistance. He spent 18 years of his 27 years in jail at the Robben Island.
27 साल जिंदगी के जो जिंदगी के सर्वोत्तम समय होता है जवानी का, वो उन्होंने जेल में बिताया.
Despite being away from spotlight, Mandela remained the symbolic leader of the anti-apartheid movement. In 1980, Mandela's friend Oliver Tambo started the Free Nelson Mandela campaign that made the jail leader a household name. The movement fueled the growing international outcry against South Africa's racist regime. In 1982, Mandela was moved to Pollsmoor prison, closer to Cape Town. Starting in 1986, the government opened secret talks with Mandela. They offered him his freedom, but only if he would denounce the ANC's armed struggle. Mandela refused, saying he would be released unconditionally or not at all. In 1988, he was transferred to Victor Verster prison in the town of Paarl, Western Cape. In 1989, newly elected President F.W. de Klerk lifted the ban on the ANC and called for a non-racist South Africa. On the 11th of February 1990, he ordered Mandela's release from prison. On the 10th of May 1994, Nelson Mandela took oath as South Africa's first black president. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Nelson Mandela found the lessons of winning a war against apartheid in Mahatma Gandhi's struggles. Mandela's love for India is also evident from the fact that after his release, he chose to come to India first. For Madiba, India was not only a nation, but a source of inspiration. Whenever he came here, people saw in him the spirit of Mahatma Gandhi.
It was the time when the entire world was getting influenced by Mahatma Gandhi. Nelson Mandela was also one of them. Ideologically, he found himself close to Gandhi, which was clearly visible in his campaigns. For nearly 20 years, Mandela continued a peaceful, non-violent movement against apartheid and racism. Inspired by Mahatma Gandhi, he took out the civil disobedience movement in 1952, in which a large number of people participated. With an aim to provide legal advice to black people in South Africa at cheaper rates, Mandela, along with his fellow Oliver Tambo, established a law firm.
Nelson Mandela's right from the beginning idea is that one cannot discriminate black and white on the basis of color. He raised a slogan, Umkanta vi Sijvi, that means sphere of the nation. The youth should take weapons to fight against these white minority rules. Later on in the year 1970, he again wrote a letter for the people that still he believed in non-violent movement with the approach of mass movement and mass protest.
Gandhiji first started the journey of becoming a satyagrahi from South Africa. Years later, the world found another Gandhi in Nelson Mandela. Gandhi taught the world to fight against colonial tyranny and injustice, while Nelson Mandela led the fight against the powerful, feudalist and racist forces by uniting the powerless and deprived black society. Even after Gandhi returned to India, the injustice continued against blacks in Africa. But it was Mandela's struggle that got the black population in South Africa the right to vote. His struggle also gave this right to Indians living there in large numbers.
जब उनको यहाँ भारत में आमंत्रित किया गया था पुरस्कृत करने के लिए, तब भी उन्होंने ये कहा था कि गांधी के रास्ते पर चलकर हम कामयाब हुए, गांधी के चिंतन से हम प्रभावित हुए। गांधी ने सत्याग्रह का जो रास्ता अपनाया, उस रास्ते पर हम आगे बढ़े। तो उन्होंने गांधी के विचार, दर्शन और लोगों के साथ जोड़कर काम करने की रणनीति विकसित की।
Mandela's relations with India were special. He drew inspiration from Gandhi's thoughts. In the Apartheid movement, the Indian government and the Indian public wholeheartedly supported South Africa and Nelson Mandela. After spending 27 years in jail, when Nelson Mandela was released in 1990, democracy was witnessing a new change. The fight against apartheid was won in South Africa. It was celebrated in India as well. Mandela's attachment to India was so deep that after his release, he chose to travel to India first. Saluting his sacrifice and struggle, India honored him with the country's highest civilian honor, Bharat Ratna, in 1990. Later, he was given the Indira Gandhi Award for International Justice and Harmony in 1996. He was also awarded the Mahatma Gandhi International Award for Reconciliation and Peace 2008.
उन्होंने हथियारबंद लड़ाई का रास्ता छोड़कर अहिंसा का रास्ता अपनाया, लोगों को सत्याग्रही रास्ते पर ले जाने के लिए तैयार किया। सबसे बड़ा रास्ता तो ये था। और दूसरा ये, जो आज़ादी हासिल करने के बाद, राष्ट्रपति बनने के बाद उन्होंने रिकंसिलिएशन कमीशन बनाया। अंग्रेजों को भगाने के लिए नहीं काम किया, अंग्रेजी सत्ता को बदलने का काम किया, जो गांधी ने कहा था।
Mandela was also impressed by Mahatma Gandhi's policy of self-reliance. In a video message in 2007, he said, "If any country can bring self-reliance into practice, then poverty will disappear from developing countries and development will take place." Gandhi's non-violence and equality is a global phenomenon, but in the 20th century, Nelson Mandela is perhaps the best example of how Mahatma Gandhi's ideology is applicable in today's era. For democracy, Mandela chose the ideals of the father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi. For his struggle and ideals, he is called Africa's Gandhi and Gandhi of blacks. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And that's it from us in today's edition of In Depth. We'll see you same time tomorrow with a focus on another subject. You can also watch our episodes online on YouTube and Twitter and share your feedback. Thanks for your time.